Today is June 2nd, 2019. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Jack Short in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Sir, where were you born?
Copan,
Copan. And when's your birthday?
March 10th, 1939. When's your birthday, Joe?
September 28th, 1946.
47?
46.
46.
Yes. Who's your father?
Louis Hub Short. And he went by the name Hub. That was a
Okay. Is that H-U-B, H-U-B-B?
H-U-B.
H-U-B.
It's for Hubbard. It's
Yeah, okay. And who's your mother?
Marguerite Helen Gaddis Short.
Marguerite
Helen
Helen
Gaddis.
Gaddis Short. G-A-D-D-I-S? Okay. Did you go through school in Copan?
Well, no. My dad took a job with the Co-op Oil Company about the time I was in the first grade there at Copan, and we moved to Chautauqua, Kansas. And I went to the first and started the second there, and then we moved east of Caney, and eventually moved into Caney when I was in the fourth grade.
Okay.
And I finished school there in Caney.
You graduated what year?
57, but I did not graduate though. This is what happened. There was 4 seniors. We skipped school and went to Independence and went to the zoo and the pool hall. And then we said, well, we need a legal excuse, so we're going to see a recruiter. Well, the recruiter got on our case and wouldn't leave us alone then. Every noon hour he was up there trying to get us. Well, out of the 4, 1 joined the Marine, 2 joined the Navy, and 1 joined the Army. He got it. The recruiters got us all before we graduated.
Yeah.
And this is the boy that I graduated or entered the Navy with there. He lived in Caney too.
What's his name?
Elmer Belmar.
Elmer Bellmeyer. Okay.
And I have a story to tell you about this if you got it.
Okay.
Well, we got on the bus leaving for Kansas City to enter the Navy, and they give us tickets to eat on and tickets for beds at this certain hotel, but we had to be there at midnight. Well, the bus got up there in Kansas City, and we figured, well, if we ate there at the bus station, we'd have the rest of the time to monkey around. So we sit down at this big booth, and they, you know how they have little clips on the cards that says specials. They're in salt and pepper, deal holding it on. And of course, we didn't read what it said. We just told the girl that we'd take 2 of the traveler specials. And so here it come, and it was 2 bowls of white beans with cornbread and sliced onions. Elmer looked at that and he slid her back and he said, this is one of the reasons I joined the Navy. He came from a large family and I did too, so we both knew what beans was. You know? He said, let's get some hamburgers.
Yeah.
But the other important thing in that I was a gunner on this heavy
Now,
cruiser.
before we get there, now when did you join the Navy?
56.
Do you recall the month and day?
December 56.
December 1956.
Fif-
Now,
13th.
December 13th.
And the reason we went, they told us if we left on this date, we could go to California instead of Chicago for
Okay.
boot. So,
Now, what type of work your father did?
oil field,
Oil field.
pumper, gauger,
Okay. Now,
done it all his life.
Yeah. Did you play sports in high school?
No, I worked at that store mainly. I went out for football my senior year. He let me off to go out for my senior year, and that was only, I played baseball, you know, American Legion up there at Caney. And no, my brothers was more into sports. I was a cowboy. I rodeoed. Started riding when I was about 12 years old, and I liked it. And
What store did you work for?
Cliff Jones Grocery
Cliff Jones Grocery in Caney,
in Caney.
and you deliver groceries.
I done everything, and in 4 years I cut meat, stocked. They also had a feed store. It was like a general store. They had barbed wire and feed, nails, and back in them days, say they took eggs in on their feed and stuff, and people would bring cases of eggs in and trade them for feed. And things were so much different then than they are now. The people didn't have cars then either, you know, and that's the reason there was so much home delivery.
Now, how do you deliver the groceries?
Well, he bought a brand new '53 Ford pickup truck. And I got a ticket. Well, no, I didn't get a ticket, but I got in trouble the first day he got it. I got in a drag race and lost some feed out of the back of it, and a lady turned me in. And these people, they didn't have kids of their own. All these kids that worked for them were just like theirs. Of course, I got chewed out, and then she cried later after she done it to us, or me, and they were really good people.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. Now, why'd you join the Navy over the Army or the Marines? For the Air Force?
well, I didn't think I was tough enough for the Marines, and I didn't like the Army, you know. And I just, well, my mother said I was going to be in the Navy. She knew that when I was 2 years old, and I said, how come? She said, every mud hole, water hole, you were in it, you know. So, but I wanted to see the world, and I did.
Where'd you go for your boot camp?
San Diego.
San Diego. How'd you travel to San Diego?
Pardon?
How'd you travel to San Diego?
They flew us out, and a lot of times when I come home, we'd catch a military hop. You know, they were free, and all we had to do was like maybe $1.50 for a parachute packing and our lunch, and we'd catch them there at Signal Hill, California, and we flew into Corpus Christi, and I didn't like to fly, and after 9/11, I haven't ever.
Yeah.
That was the end of my flying days. And I have a son that lives in Portland, Oregon, and he used to live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I used to go and see him. I drove out twice, and then I flew out twice, and then.
Tell me about boot camp.
Pardon?
Tell me about boot camp.
Well, we got there about 2 in the morning, and then they got us up about 5 in the morning, our first day, and it was pretty hectic, you know, all these new guys around you. You only knew this one guy, and it was tough the first couple of weeks, you know, of the exercise and everything. But you went through boots yourself, you know. And this might be a nice little interesting story.
Sure.
We were on our 3rd week evaluation one Saturday morning, and we was marching in front of the big grandstand. And after we got through there, we had this little company commander. He got me by the collar and jerked me out of the ranks and kicked me in the ass. He said, "What in the hell's the matter with you?" And I said, "I don't know why." He said, 30,000 men marching here today, and you're the only son of a bitch out of step. And he said, "You got a problem?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What the hell is it then?" I said, "It's Lunsford." Lunsford was a great big Cajun boy, weighed about 250 from Louisiana, and you know, he didn't march, he waddled. Hell, I didn't know what step he was in, and so the old company commander, we was on the outside row there, and he said, "Okay, just check the next row over, you know, you can." So I learned that, and I become a sharp-ass sailor, I mean it. And I learned to march, and this Lunsford in front of me, you know how you skip to get back in time? I do that and catch him under the heel, and wiped out the ranks. Of course, the company commander wasn't around when I done that, but, and Lunsford was a good old guy. He'd get up and he said, "Short, I wish you wouldn't do that." And I said, "Okay, I ain't gonna do it no more till next time." And,
What type of training did you have in boot camp?
it was 9 weeks of drills, manual training, you know, with the old M1. We had the old Springfields back then that we monkeyed with. And, well, after I got out of boot camp, I went through a training at Camp Pendleton. We had a Marine detachment on our ship. And when we had these drills and stuff, if this Marine detachment got knocked out, the sailors would be making us landings and stuff. And so we went to Camp Pendleton for 2 weeks.
What'd you do at Camp Pendleton?
Marines. It was, we had been aboard ship and didn't have any. See, these were steel boots there in Camp Pendleton, and them guys was standing like this, and every minute they was waiting to go to chow and stuff, and we had to go out on these night maneuvers and stuff, just like Marines did. Oh, we had to scale out of 2-story buildings, how you spider out of them. And all that was new to us. I mean, we didn't have to do any of that when we were in boot Navy training. But and one thing I noticed, the big difference, the Navy food was so much better than the Marines. They don't want them guys getting fat at all, and they don't. And, I'm proud of them. They're an individual. It takes a good guy to be one of them.
Yeah. How long did boot camp last?
9 weeks.
9 weeks. So after you were up San Diego and Camp Pendleton, where'd you go?
Well, I went back to San Diego at what they call a DES base, where they decommission ships. Well, first they sent me to a seaman school and got me another rate. So now I was a seaman, and I was at the DES base decommissioning these ships. And I was there going to the school and this base for not very long, maybe 4 months. And I seen on the bulletin board where this U.S. Rochester was going to go to Australia. It told all the ports it was going to go to. And I heard these old timers talking about it. And I told this one guy, I said, "I'm going to put in for that." And he said, "If you will, I will." And I said, "Okay." So we put in for it, and they notified us that, "Okay, we're going to be taking you to San Diego to catch your ship, the U.S. Rochester there." And it was a mighty big ship.
When did you go aboard the Rochester?
See, that would be May of '57.
May of 57? Okay. What kind of ship was the Rochester?
It was a heavy cruiser. It was the biggest ship, the battleships the last one had been decommissioned in '53. So this is '56, '57. And we were the largest type land bombardment ships.
Okay. What division were you assigned to on the Rochester?
I was in the first division.
First division?
It's a deck division.
Okay.
And you have to be voted into this gun division. It's this ship I was on, it had 9 8-inch guns and 15 5-inch, and I don't know how many anti-aircraft. But we were land bombardment. We could shoot like 18 miles and stuff. And our projectiles, they weighed from 350 to 500 pounds.
Now, what gun were you on?
I was on Turret 1, Gun 3. I was a pointer and a trainer,
Okay. Was it 8-inch or what?
8-inch.
8-inch.
That's a heavy cruiser, and light cruiser a 6-inch.
Okay. Now, what does a pointer and trainer do on the gun?
Okay, the trainer, he's the one that trains the turret, you know.
Right and left?
And the pointer is the one that points your elevations.
Oh, wait, yeah.
And I could do both, you know.
Okay.
So, well, each gun had its own little crew inside there, you know, the one that loaded and rammed it, and
Yeah.
the powder monkeys, and the gun captain, the one that put the primer in, and he could, most of the time, they fired the guns from inside. Very seldom they let the gun captains
Okay.
do their own firing.
Now, where's the ammunition kept?
About 16 stories below.
Okay.
And this is a sad story. One of these projectiles come up, these 16, you know, on this hoist. Well, it didn't catch up here at the top, and it sent this projectile back down there and landed on a guy's foot. Oh, and you know, getting him out of those holes all the way, the pain this guy was in. I never saw him after that, but he never did come back to the ship, and possibly lost his leg, I imagine.
Yeah. Now, you have the projectile, and then you have powder bags behind the projectile?
Yes,
Okay.
we had two of them.
Okay.
And they were capped in black powder, and then the gun primer.
Now, where's the powder handling room?
The powder was the farthest in the bottom of the ship.
Okay.
It was past the projectors. It was
Okay.
in the very bottom.
Okay.
There's a powder room,
Okay.
and every now and then they'd send you down there with a broom to. I mean, there was no much maintenance to do.
Yeah.
Less after you fired, then you had to clean up and all that. But
Where are your quarters on the ship?
pardon?
Where were your quarters on the ship?
Okay, the first division that I was in was the far left on the.
Just a second. Okay. Now, you're talking about your quarters on the ship.
Okay, we were on the starboard side, the farthest compartment to the bow.
Okay. How far down?
Just the main deck, maybe just one story.
Okay. Okay. Now, how many men were in the first division?
Okay, probably counting, see, the gun division and deck division were together. Probably 30,
Okay.
35. Now, this is a good story, Joe. They give special liberty every time we pulled in port, you know, and each division was judged by the captain and the executive officer, and they come around and they pointed one person out of each division a special liberty for being the best clean sailor. I won that like 9 times in a row. The guys couldn't figure out what I was doing to do it that them guys liked. See, they were taking their neckerchief and roll it in little tiny, I don't know if you can tell there, and instead I done it like the old time sailors, them great big fluffy knots and stuff. Then the captain, them guys liked it, and finally this one little guy, he figured it out, but I was about ready to get out of the Navy anyway, so. But see, these special liberties I could sell for like $25 and stuff like that. And I usually had more money, or more time than I did money anyway, so.
Now, where did you take your meals on the ship?
Well, we had a big galley, and it was, you could enter from both sides, and you know, where rows of, because you're feeding like 900 sailors on that ship.
That's the crew of.
Yeah,
right?
on peacetime. Wartime, 1,200.
Okay.
And the food was really good. Like when we were in, when we were in the Orient, we didn't get any, you know, because they used human fertilizer then. Maybe still do, I don't know. But we didn't pick any. But we went to countries like Australia, and that's where we got produce and our milk and everything.
Now, how far could the Rochester go without refueling?
Well, I couldn't hardly say, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Did I tell you about us refueling? That was one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, we were over in the China Sea, and we were in a typhoon, and we were taking on fuel from this little oiler. And like I say, our ship was so big, you know, and we were in this typhoon, we'd go up once, but this little oiler would go up 2 or 3 times, you know, and they couldn't get synchronized, you know, and they finally did, and they got what they call they shoot it in this gun, it's called a monkey fist, and it's a rope wadded up with a line connected to it, and they got them across, and finally got some cables going across, and they were hooking these brackets up to hold the cables and the hoses, and one of them got loose and was swinging out there, and they had grapple hooks and everything trying to snag it, and they couldn't do it. And like I said, I'm a cowboy, so I picked a rope up and put me a hondo in there and made me 2 or 3 passes and swung out there and nagged that. First time, and everybody seen what I'd done, so they all got on and started toting her in then. But that's probably the only heroic thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Now, your general quarters was on your gun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what were you told to do in case the ship was sinking? Where'd you go?
We had regular drills.
Okay.
We had special places to be and certain things to bring to that spot, you know, for the other, your other comrades there, like if your job was to get 5 life jackets and be at that spot, that's your job. And,
What was your average day on the Rochester?
uh,
What time would you get up?
oh, we got up about, I'd say 5, you know, and everybody went to their little job, and like if they had to sweep or something, and then they'd come back and brush their teeth and comb their hair and get in the chow line then. And then we'd meet at 8 o'clock for quarters on the deck there. And they'd tell us where to go and what to do, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I just didn't want to make a career out of it, though. You
Now,
know.
your bunks were stacked how many high?
Pardon?
Your bunks were stacked how many high?
8. 4, rather.
4.
Uh-huh.
Which bunk did you have?
Well, when I come aboard the Rochester, there was only 1 bunk left. And there was 7 colored guys lived in that corner, and me on the bottom bunk. And these guys were all from Louisiana. They were good colored guys. And that one was named Barfield. And he said, Short, do you know where the chow hall is? And I said, no. And he said, follow us. So that's how I learned to shift, following those colored guys around. And, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And what watches did you stand on the ship?
Well, out to sea, they